everybody, so today I'm going to show you how to achieve something like this, which I recently put on YouTube. Being able to take GPS data to give you a bunch of overlays that you can put on top of your video, and it all looks cool. So, right. We will need a few different bits and pieces and some optional extra apps as well, but I will go through all that now. So we'll just minimise that out of the way. Okay, so first thing you will need is something that can track you on your phone. You can literally just do a search for sports tracker app, and this is the page that will come up, and there are loads. Sports tracker, Wahoo, the Nike, pedometer. No. What, does that measure how many pedos are in the local area? No, pedometer. It's a step counter. But I've picked out a few which you can try. They all do pretty much the same sort of things, apart from one which is my favourite. I'll come to that one last. I'll show you why. So you got GPS sports tracker. It does what it should. It records your route and where is it? Import, export, workout to GPX. Now the app you get needs to be able to export GPX files, which is your GPS data basically. Because that is what we need to load into the other programs so it can control the overlays and things like that, and some other nice things which I'll show you. There's also Runkeeper. Again, this is a running app, but it'll work for bikes and scooters and things like that. It's got a go button, then a stop button. It exports, that's what we want. Sports tracker, running, cycling. This is another decent one. Strava is apparently a very popular one. Again, all we really need it to do is record the route that you take and be able to export the data, which it can. Now, the one that I use, and is my favourite, is a program called Relive. It does some nice things. It, most importantly, is quite simple to use. I'm not sure if the picture's going to show you, but you can just see it there, the big button. That's all you really use. You load up the app, and once it locks onto the GPSs, hit the go button, and then you'll get a stop button and a pause button. So you can pause it if you do come to a halt somewhere, and then continue once you start moving again. But I don't know if you actually saw it in that last picture. The one thing it does do, once you have recorded your route and you've finished, you can get it to record a little Google Earth thing, which I'll actually show you now. Hang on. That's the one I wanted. So yeah, this is what it exports. This is what it exported from a route that I'd done. It's very nice. That little marker apparently was where I hit my fastest point. I didn't even know my scooter could go 32 miles an hour. That was news to me, but that was a big downhill apparently. It shows me riding all the way through the park, past the lake. And back to the end. Shows you some data. So that's a very nice thing it does, but most importantly, oh hang on, it's going to be stupid. There we go. Most importantly, it records your GPS data, and when you're finished, it uploads it to their website where you can go and then download the GPS data again. So this is the one I'd recommend. The other apps you will need are the Garmin Virb app, I think it's called. Let's have a look, because I have it. Garmin, oh, Virb, not Ribe. Same amount of letters, just in the wrong order. Yeah, it's Virb. I'll put a link in the video or in the description so you can find that. And an optional Saucy Extra is Google Earth. Not Google Maps, Google Earth. The standalone program which you can download for your PC. Because you can also load in your GPS data into that, and you can make it create a video kind of like the one that this exports, Relive, but it's in real time. Let's see if I can get back to that. Right, and it was here. I'll show you a little bit. Now this is me actually moving real time. And when the marker, this isn't great quality. I recorded it deliberately in low quality because this wouldn't be used full screen. This would be shrunk down to, let's have a look, where was it? Oh yeah, it was on that one. It would get shrunk down to approximately the size of the map on this screen over to the right. You'd basically use that video to replace the map that's on this overlay. You do that in a video editor, something like Premiere Pro or Adobe After Effects. What was that program called again? Virb. Yeah, Virb. Okay, Virb is quite strange and quite neat. It's two programs in one. It's basically a program that handles your GPS data and creates overlays for it. And it's also a very basic video editor. So it's kind of like, it's a very cut down version of Adobe After Effects that has about 3 functions. One of them is video editing. One of them is using the GPS data to control various overlays. And it also has a overlay, well, a dials builder. So each of these different dials, like the elevation or the speed and things like that, you can load one of them into their editor, which is part of the program, and you can change each individual part of it and control how it does things. So you could do it literally just by pictures if you just want to change like the background for one of the dials or the way the compass is displayed. But if you wanted to, you can go in and program it as, they call it advanced editing, it's basic code. So you can create your own dials completely from scratch. For example, the date, time and duration at the top of this screen, they're just black strips normally, but I actually got those 3, I got that image, which is the black background strip, and I loaded that into Photoshop and I put a little blue trim on the edge, and then loaded it back into the editor and created these ones. So I can either have these ones or the original black ones. Right, we shall move on to the next part now. I shall pause the video, and when we come back, I will show you the rest of the stuff. So there we go. Okay, so we are in Google Earth. It doesn't matter if you have the free version or Google Earth Pro. Really makes no difference. Both can import GPS data, do what we need to do. So we will presume you've been on your ride and you've recorded a route in your GPS tracking app, and you have exported it out of your phone or got it from the website or wherever it's stored, and it's now located on your computer. It should be a .gpx file. So from there we go to import, and we want to change it from generic text to all files, and there I have afternoonadventure.gpx. Great, came out, and So it's actually going off, and there's the route. So what we need to do is expand that. Yeah. So let's have a look. Yeah, we'll name that. Rename. Test. That'll work. Actually, you. Okay. And so from there, you right click and you do add tour. You also have to click, yeah, I think you have to click play tour. There we go. It's rewinding. I'm not sure why. But once it gets to the start, about 10 seconds, just hit the record at the bottom there. You get that. You get the record button from doing add tour, but you get the play controls by doing play tour. So I'm only going to show you a little bit of this, but you'll go wandering off. You can set the various different speeds, like how fast he moves. I'm not going to tinker with that just now. You can look up that sort of thing later. Actually, no, let's have a look. Okay, so that will do. So there's enough recorded data. So we will call that done. And that gives us this file. And then you can go to, oh, hang on, we need to come out of that just for the moment. Go to Tools, Movie Maker. You can set your however you want. And it will, if you have any tours, like there's the sightseeing folder that you get with Google Earth, you'll be able to choose from that one or from, in this case, Done, which is our tour that we've just created. You can, so make sure you select the one that you've done, where you're saving it to, various video parameters, like what size do you want it. Bearing in mind, if you're using this for a little map in the corner as a live viewing, then you don't need it any bigger than like 800 by 600 or at most 720. But I'm doing 640 360, which is still widescreen, so it's still the same dimensions as HD or HD Ready. It's just a smaller version, so it's easier to it's easier for the thing to record and dump out, and it's faster. So you then click Create Movie. So there we go. That would get you your finished video, and you can load that into a video editor or something like that, and then you are good to go. You can overlay that instead of your basic map. Okay, so we're now going to switch over to the last program, which is Virb. I'm so lucky I got that right that time. Normally I don't. So I'll close this down, and then when I come back, we'll be in the other app. Okay, so we're back, and we're in Virb, which is the Garmin editor. And it works great for Garmin's apparently, but it also works great for lots of other stuff. Various phones and apps and things like that, because all it really needs is some video footage and the GPX file. So we will start. We want to create a video. We will call it Test. Fairly simple. Okay, it wants us to import clips. Now, I haven't actually got the original video that goes with the GPS data anymore, because the video was a bit crap. So I'm going to use another video, or a clip of another video rather, and part of that clip I actually ride the same route as I did when I recorded the GPS data. So I'll show you what we have to do, because we have to sync up the GPS data to the video, and that means that all the overlays will react at the right time in comparison to the video. So it will still work. I'll show you that. So I just drag the video in, and now we go to G-metrics. Oh no, we drag that down onto the timeline. Optimize clips. So if you've got a really big file, like 20-30 minutes long, obviously this will take much longer to optimize. All it's doing, it's got your HD version, or your high quality version, and it's making a low res version just to use in this program. When you export it, it will actually revert back to using your high quality version, so it's not getting damaged or anything like that. So we have our clip, which you can scrub along, which is great. I'm actually trying to find a specific spot. What I'm going to do is let it play through a little bit. Actually, is that it? No, let it go through. Yeah, this is a video. This is the part, I think. Now, hopefully that bench is enough of a landmark for me to do this. Right, so we're on the clip, and it says there is no G-metrics for this clip. G-metrics basically means your GPS information. So import G-metrics. Now I've already got this loaded because I used this one earlier, but you can either go to devices or on my computer, and then you just either drag the GPX file or browse for it. But as this is previous import, then we'll use that. Now it tells us what information it's containing. If you're using something like a smartwatch, it might also record things like your heart rate and stuff like that. So they will be options here as well, and you can have little dials and meters to use them. But as mine was just my phone, it's got position, elevation, calculated 2D speed, distance, grade, which is gradient of hills, course, which is direction, recorded 3D speed and calculated 3D speed. Now these two only really apply if you're actually using a Garmin camera, which has GPS built into it, because it uses the GPS along with what the lenses are seeing in the camera to work out exactly how fast you're going. But I'm not, because my phone hasn't got that ability, they won't do anything if I try using dials for them. But I can use the calculated 2D speed, which is just using GPS's distance over time. So that's what we're using. Use this log. That's what we need to click. Okay, now we need to sync it up. So what we will do is click on G-metrics sync, and in the left hand window, the video window, we will scrub through to that point I found earlier. Now that was the bench. Okay, so we'll come back a little bit. Click a few times. Click, 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 click.com. Getting boring. There we go, that's the bench. So we'll get alongside the bench. There we go. Now on the map, if I switch to satellite, it's going to be around here somewhere. Oh, I should have zoomed out first. Okay, so take the mark around. I think it's going to be somewhere around here. Took the big left-hander. I went along. I think it's along here. Yeah, I think it's about there. Yeah, so this isn't going to be perfect, but as an example, it's there. We'll say that is the same point as the bench along there. So now that GPS is synced up with that. Now the weird thing is, if you see, we've got this grey line and the black line. The grey line is showing the entire GPS route, but because this video is only 1:23 long, the black line represents 1:23 GPS data. So it's only going to show us the GPS data for that route, for that part of the route. If you try going before or after that, it just reports as 0 data. But we'll say that this is the right place in comparison to the bench just here. So we'll say done. And now, when you scroll through, it should change. We'll click play. And it doesn't matter where you jump to on the map there. And you got your elevation there, you got your speed there, and a logo that nobody wants. So the important part is we'll delete all these because we don't want these. The important thing is our data is synced up now to our video. So what you can do is you can either go to templates and buy one of them, some basic ones, slightly fancier ones. Those are quite cool. That's your elevation and a G meter if your GPS logger or tracker records that. There's elevate. Oh no, that's your distance. Sorry, that's your distance. That's your gradient and that's your elevation. Got this one, which is quite cool. It's got the date, time, and so it knows that according to the GPS data, I was at this point at this time, which we'll just change that a second. According to this, it was at 435. So that was the futuristic one. We've got grounded, which is purple, helmet cam, which puts the stuff, most of the stuff up there. But we've got the, I think that's elevation and gradient there at the bottom. You've also got racetrack stuff. You've got none, and I created that one, which is the one that I'm going to use in my videos now. Although I might move the compass because of the rear view image. I might put the compass, I might move the map and things and put the compass somewhere else. But you can say we'll start with none, and we'll go to gauges and the data type we want. The first one is speed. So as I said before, my phone doesn't do calculated 3D speed or recorded 3D speed, it only does calculated 2D speed. So these yellow ones are ones that I've edited, but the white ones are normal. So we'll start there. And we got, you literally just drag them on. So you got that sort of thing. That sort of thing. And the needle, little needle does react. It's like there, 14 miles an hour. And all the graphs and dials and things automatically adjust for the GPS data. So the slowest you'll go is 0 miles an hour. If the fastest you go is 20 miles an hour, then things like the little needle here, or this, it will only record from, let's make it bigger so we can see it. This goes from 0 to 38. I don't know why it's got 38 because I never reach that speed. But it won't go to like 100 and something mile an hour. But if you have something that does 50 mile an hour, your gauge will go up to at least 50 mile an hour. They all automatically adjust for the minimum and maximum of what they need to do. So we'll delete that one. Go back, and it was calculated 2D speed. Then you've also got things like a lot of the gauges have a left and a right hand version depending where you want them on the screen. You got that one, is very nice. Got this sort of thing, great. Different. And that one, which has the digital readout, the little needle moves, and you've got like a blue bar which represents somewhere between the minimum and the maximum. Then we get on to the fun ones. Some of these funky things. And again, all the gauges and things move accordingly. A proper one. That's what we want. Now, not only can you change the size, but if you go into appearance, you have accent 1, accent 2, and background. Now, all the dials are pre-programmed to work in certain ways. So you say like this image, which is the red parts of the dial, only react to accent 1. And the needle only reacts to accent 2. But you can go in and edit them and say, just use the colours that you gave them in Photoshop or whatever. So if you make a new dial, you make the outer ring bright green and the needle purple. When you load it back in, if they're set to use accent 1 and accent 2, then they will be these colours. if you set them in the editor to not use these color controls, what it means is people can't change them, but they will look exactly how you wanted. But for example, you can do like bright green for the outside, no, purple for the outside one, bright yellow for the inner one, and we can change the background. You can have various colours. Also the text on it, and images in fact can be told to be on auto foreground. So if you choose a darker colour, the numbers automatically go light. If you choose a light colour, they automatically go dark, which is crazy. But you can also have them as a certain transparent, so it's a white side transparent, a dark side transparent, no transparency, and no transparency. So that's quite cool, but we'll set that to black. And no, that was a red, wasn't it? Yeah. And that was... No, that doesn't look right. Oh no, we'll do, we go back to mine. There we go, that sets the colours back to normal. Okay, now if we change that. Here it is. Not good. Alright, we'll use mine. Anyway, so yeah. So more gauges. So like I said, you have various speedometers. Very nice. One of them like a bloody fighter pilot thing. In fact, two like a fighter pilot thing. When you press play, one of them has the speed scroll in there. One of them just has the sliding thing, which is quite neat. They're all programmed to do that themselves. And like I said, if you don't tinker with the programming part of it, you can just go in and switch the images out so they look different. Just a standard display. That's quite a cool one. Goes up and down. So that's neat. And various other ones. Then we have things like position. Oh no, we clicked on the entire group actually, so that shows us everything for position. But we'll go for distance. And a lot of the same gauges and dials can be reused for multiple different uses. So you get the same speedometer is the same as the same distance meter and about 4 others. You have your elevation, and again, yeah, elevation. So there's a few that I've created and edited. Then you get a neat one there, which has got, what does it have? Recorded speed, pace, elevation, course, gradient, and distance. So that's quite cool. That's like an all-in-one. There's an elevation. So it shows it as a speedometer, or rather as a needle dial. Various gauges for the side. The elevation works quite well for those sorts of things that look like the fighter pilot stuff. But you just add them in. All the different things, like duration. What else? Track. So we will go That's mine. It's 1, 2, 3. I'll know that because it's the big one. You could put that somewhere. As it goes along, follows the track. Actually, I don't think that's too far out of where the video was supposed to be. But that's quite cool. So you put a bunch of them down. I'll use them for example. Then if you add multiple clips, for example, media library, I'll add another video. So what you do, you drop that onto the timeline as well. Not now, I'm not going to bother. Right, so you can set a transition, so like it fades between the two and things like that. So we'll do that. Then we have to, if you notice that one, the little geometrics thing logo, on this one it's got a red line. We have to sync the geometrics to this as well. So put geometrics, yeah, there we go. So we'll use this log. It's the same one as we used before. Not now. Okay, and what we would do is sync this to Google Maps. Now I know this was right near the end of the ride as we was coming back home. So let's have a look. What are we near? Whoop, a bit too far. Right, so that's the junction. She's there. We go. Oh, we won't let you step through, so we'll drag it. And that's about there. Okay, so we back out here. Yeah, that looks about right. Not now. So what would happen is now the data, we've synced that part of the data to there, and we've synced this part of the data to this video. So you will see, like on the map, it will go from here and then suddenly jump to the next part, or I think it will. We'll soon find out. Yeah, so the dot jumps from one spot to the next. That's when I was scooting, because the cops were just to the left of me. That's why I stopped behind that white van. It's because the cops were literally walking alongside that white van. So I pulled in very quietly and carefully, waited for a little bit, and done a runner. But right, so that's the data. Now, once you're done, you just go to export, and you have two options. You can either export everything rather, that was in this program, so it's your video file and the overlays on top, and you can set whatever video resolution export you want depending on what your video import resolution and speed was. Target quality max, that applies most to the actual overlays. Then you got media settings, which you generally want to keep it on FFmpeg. Branding, you can either have the intro at the start or the outro, or both, or none. Why people want to advertise this program, I'm not really sure. So I set that to none. Then the one last option you need to consider is this one: export transparent PNG sequence for overlays. Now, if this isn't ticked, it will do the video with the overlays on top as one complete video. If you have this checked, when you export, what it actually does is exports hundreds, possibly even thousands of images, and it's essentially every frame of the video for the overlays is saved as an image. And then when you go into your video editor like Premiere or After Effects, you can say when you import things, you can either import videos or audio or pictures, and when you click on the first image in this sequence, you tell it import this as an image sequence, and it will import it and treat it as if it was a video. And so you can have just the overlays exported from this program, or you can have everything exported from this program, depending if you're more comfortable with external video editors like Premiere Pro or After Effects. The big advantage of doing it in an external video editor is once you have this, if you recorded the video from Google Earth of the entire route in real time, you could switch that for the little map that gets exported from this program. So that's what the Google Earth video is for. It's if you want to replace the map in this, or if you didn't include the track map in Virb at all, because you fully intended to use the Google Earth video, then that's why you do it all in an external program, because you can layer one video on top of another. But if you're not using the Google Earth and you just want this video with the overlays, then do it directly from Virb. The video that I showed at the start of my footage with the overlay, that was exported directly from Virb. So there you go. That should be everything from start to finish to get your GPS data out of your device and onto your computer, and then use that to create overlays and match it up with your video files. So have fun, be creative. Bye.